What's going on, everybody? East Tactics here. So I am installing those NTF fans today, and I thought I would just make a quick video on installing them. This is the old one that I had installed. This was the Hobby Wing heat sink and fan, and I actually don't recommend this one if you're not going to be doing an NTF fan upgrade like I'm going to be doing today. Then I actually recommend the Yeah Racing fan, the dual fan you can install on here. I've got that in my master link if you want to take a look at that. It's like 27 bucks for, two quality fans and a heat sink that you can hook up to your motor. Now, so this thing is it's going in the trash. All right, so now. So this is basically the setup that you should probably be looking at if you've never added a heat sink or anything like that to your vehicle. And this is really how easy it is to install one of these. Boom. Simple as that. The fan's on. It's got a little bit of a rotation that, because this thing only fits over half of the motor, it does feel like it clipped on pretty good. I will definitely keep you informed as to how well this specific heatsink does. And keep in mind, guys, this is not the only heatsink that NTF sells. He sells a couple of different versions. And if you really do want to have a dual fan NTF setup, then specifically say, hey, do you have a heatsink that fits onto the stock motor that can fit two of your fans? You might live in Arizona where it's 115 degrees when you're bashing and you need that, so who knows. Anyway, so now let's go ahead and get this this other one installed. This is going to be extremely simple as well. So I cut off the stuff right here so that it's just easy on, easy off, so that because I found myself breaking these fans, and I did put a mod in this fan, which it did hold up pretty well. Let's say you do break your stock fan and you just want to repair it. Watch the video on a little tactic I did that, like I said, worked pretty well. So anyway, we're no longer going to be needing these. I'll just set these aside for a rainy day. And this is the piece that you get with your stock NTF upgrade for your ESC. Comes with this and 2 screws. So you'll notice that this thing has 3 notches, 1, 2, 3, and these are for these 3 wires. So it goes on this way. Get your red Loctite. I just wanted to, ooh, that was a lot. We're gonna go ahead and drop it in on the edge. I'm not going to tighten it down quite all the way yet. And then I'm going to put my red Loctite on this one. Yeah, that feels really secure. I can see why he's saying that 2 is enough, because that's solid. That fits in there nice. So he sends you the perfect size screws for the thing, which actually it makes me want to briefly go over something. So these NTF fans are already pre-set up with all the different components that you need to just fit right into your vehicle. And it's not just the fan, it's the connector, it's the hardware, it's the carbon fiber cover, it's also the special spec that he gets from the manufacturer. There's a lot of different things going on that instills the idea that these fans are not overly priced. He charges $60 for the setup, so where if you were to piece everything together yourself, you're still going to be probably in the $35 or $45 range. I mean, and a guy's got to have a little bit of profit as well, right, to run his business. So that's just, I'm just throwing that out there for those of you that are a little bit hesitant on spending a little bit of extra money for a quality fan that's going to cool your components way better than the stock stuff. Anyway, so this thing I feel is on there really well. Let's go ahead and attach it now. Now if you look closely, at the fan, you'll notice that he's already got the hardware going all the way through here so that you can screw this in 2 spots. And again, you know, he could have had it set up to where it was screwing down in 4 spots, but just like this, man, I really feel like that is super strong. So I'm gonna set mine up to where the cord is in the back right corner. That's gonna be where I want it, because based on where I plan on running my 3S battery, that'll be perfect. So I'm gonna take and I'm gonna back it out. I actually want to leave a little bit of it, just a hair, so that it catches the right spot. Okay, so interesting. When you look at the bottom of this thing, this back corner, that hole right there happens to be the perfect spot for where the little bump is for this screw head, right? So this back corner fits on and it's snug. However, this side, if you look really close, you may be able to see it. You see that shine right there on this bar where my fingernail's touching? You see how that kind of light divot? That's from me pushing down, trying to basically get that piece snug. So, this area down here is not the actual spinning blade. So I'm going to just do a small modification. I'm going to go ahead and cut a tiny section of that plastic out so that it fits snug. And grab this little end right here. Okay, now if you look at that, if I can get the lighting right, see how that's kind of rounded out right there? So now I bet you this thing sits flat. Yep, now she's sitting. Let me just show you this close up. Now that's sitting perfectly flat right there on both sides. So, you know, do that if you want to get that flushness like I do. All right, so let's go ahead and screw these down. And there you have it. All right, so now that we got that installed, she's good to go. The next part of this installation is kind of, I think it's the more interesting stuff, because everybody's installation is going to be a little bit unique. Obviously I'm running the Arrma Kraton 6S, and so I went ahead and removed, I popped this off real quick, and we're going to go ahead and reinstall the cage. There are a few things to be aware of, because this sort of does get in the way a little bit right here where this bar goes through when you put the cage on. This section that's longer actually goes toward the front of the vehicle. So that's just one way to always remember when you're putting this thing back on. So the bar that you put through here, which you would normally go in from this direction, is now kind of being blocked by the fan. So now the only way for me to put this bar on is actually to go in from the other direction. You'll notice that it's sticking out right here. It can't go all the way through because this is blocking it. So just kind of force the ESC over and just go like that. It does help to secure the ESC, I would say, to some degree. It's gonna help prevent rattling. You still can twist this thing around and then get your banana clip . Alright, so now that that's in, I'm going to go ahead and install this fan. Now, one benefit of doing it this way is you're blowing air into the motor and also into the vehicle, I would say a little bit more. Whereas if you do it this way, you're sort of blowing air over the vehicle and sort of out. I mean, over the motor and sort of out of the vehicle. So I would say from a sheer standpoint of what's going to provide the most cooling for your vehicle as a whole, I would say snapping it on this way would be ideal. And then I'm going to, after I snap it, I'm going to rotate it around to where it's up as high as possible. Okay, so here are the two connectors, and I'm going to show you where I actually put my I'm going to put my 3S battery. I feel like it's an interesting location. There were thoughts of putting it here, but I realized that if I tried to put it here, it just made me a little bit uncomfortable, the idea of having a heat source butting up right against my battery. So that was one thought. And I chose this 3S battery because it's kind of short and stubby. But in my description, my master description, you can find other 3S batteries that are in the same milliamp range, or a little, and there's even some that are 1300 milliamps. They're like longer and thinner. So instead of being 3 cells stacked, it's 2 cells stacked, but it's a little bit longer. Some people put their battery on top, and in this situation I would get that longer battery that's a little bit longer and thinner, and then you can just strap it in on top of your other battery. My only concern with doing that was I really feel like it would be a little bit too heavy on this side of the vehicle. In my opinion, I feel like this giant 6S battery way outweighs the motor and the ESC and the stuff that's on this side of the vehicle, and so I would feel like my vehicle is sort of left heavy. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to figure out a way to put the weight of my battery somewhere on the right side of the vehicle. Again, I didn't want to put it here because of being too close to my motor, and I was like, okay, well, where can I put it up here? There's really nowhere up here I can put it because of the moving part of the servo. So anyway, I came up with this idea. What you do is you take 2 zip ties and you put them around, and you use one of the zip ties to just hold down this thing. Now, keeping in mind that you're going to need to charge this thing, so don't forget to make sure that you either have an adapter, which I ordered one. Here it is. Here's a quick picture of it, and obviously I only needed one, but I went ahead and just picked up a 3-pack because I could have gotten a 2-pack for like $1 less, but I'm like, I might as well just get 3 of them for $1 more. Anyway, so I may end up kind of shifting this thing, well, like this, so that I have a little bit of playroom, and then pushing it back into position right here. The reason I like this is because these 2 nubbies actually fit up inside of right here in between these 2 plastic shafts, and it prevents the battery from moving. It basically, this and this are in between here, and it just prevents it from moving back and forth, right? And I'm going to strap it around this thing with a strap, and my battery is basically going to sit right here. It's going to be out of the way. I'm still getting plenty of air flow from the top to get to the ESC fan, and it's out of the way of all these other components. Obviously it's out of the way of this, and so let me just strap this in and I'll show you what it looks like. So let me show you. We're gonna go ahead and put this thing in like so, to where it doesn't move back and forth because of the way I set up the zip ties. And when you put the strap in, you want the Velcro facing downward. Put the Velcro up through the bottom, up through here, going over this brace right here, underneath here, and then over this brace here. So there's 2 solid braces that the battery is going to be strapped to. Before I cinch it down, I'm going to make sure that the batteries, those 2 zip ties are in between so it doesn't go back and forth. And then Boom. That is solid. The other nice thing about this is the weight is now distributed. All right guys, so off camera, I kind of just tinkered around with it a bit to come up with what I feel is going to work the best for me in the way that I want to install the excess wire. Did I want to, did I want to take the splitter and snip it so it was a much smaller Y splitter or what? And actually what I decided to do was I've got the switch connected to my battery right here, and it just runs down right here, and then I'm going to be mounting my switch right there, and I'll get to that in a minute as to how I'm going to mount that, because I actually haven't mounted it yet. It's just sitting there. And so what I decided to do, instead of trying to kind of crimp up the wires and wrap them up together and have them in some sort of knot somewhere, I'm just in essence wrapping it around my ESC, up underneath, past along the side of the drive shaft, along the servo, and popping out right here. And that's what I'm going to do. So as far as the way I want to mount this piece in here so that it stays down there firm, I've got some double-sided mounting tape. Go ahead and do that now. Just want to kind of get these out of the way for the time being. Just kind of push them up back under here just to get them out of the way. And all right, so this is the piece we want to get in there. So let's grab sticky tape. I'm going to take a piece off that's going to basically wrap around this flat side and along the bottom. And then we're just going to cram this bad boy in there, down as low as we can get it before it sticks. And then we're going to take and re-wedge the wiring along the ledge there, and pull these back out. We should be good to go. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's feeling pretty solid in there. So now let's go ahead and hook it up. All right. So just so you know, instead of like driving yourself crazy wondering how like these go in, instead of like wondering the proper way to do it, whether you got to go this way or flip it this way, you don't even have to really even look at, like, at first I was looking at these two little metal marks and I was like, okay, I believe if I look inside here, I can see that the red and the white one, maybe this connects to the red and white one. Don't even stress about that. All you really need to do is whichever way this thing is actually designed to where when you push it in, it'll slide in really easy if it's right. If you have it backwards, you have to kind of force it in. It doesn't comfortably just slide in. So all you really need to do is just, when you're pushing it in, as long as it slides in super smooth and then clicks, then you know you have it right. All right, we're hooked up. Let's go ahead and turn the fan on. Okay, so it's important again for me to note that I have not bashed yet. I've not gone to like a hardcore bash session or to maybe a skate park yet to see if these fans can withstand quite a bit of torment. I'm really happy with where my battery is. It feels secure. Also, again, just to kind of reiterate, The ESC has been slightly pushed over to accommodate for our rod that's holding down the cage, and the rod is actually providing quite a bit of stability and support to this so that it doesn't move. Another thing that I kind of like with my battery being right here is it's not touching down here, but it's also kind of just nesting in this whole fan to give it a little bit more, I don't know, support. So when it comes to the motor fan, again, these only clip on halfway over the motor, and you know, I am a little bit concerned that on a large smack that this thing might pop off. At the very least, it might pop off like that, where it's kind of de-seated itself back here a little bit off of the, and then when I push it like this, it clicks back on. You know, we'll find out if it completely pops off the motor. But one thing to take into consideration is I can push this thing all the way like this, and then I can slide it underneath this knobby that is the bar for the cage. I can actually get it underneath there to provide a certain level of prevention from it popping off. Just something to keep in mind. The only downside to that is now it's kind of, you know, sticking out a bit here, which I know my body will still go over that, but I'm more of a fan of it being kind of turned upward more. But for now, I'm just gonna get it out from under there and then put it up like this and find out how well it holds, really. So anyway, guys, that really wraps up the installation for these fans. Again, this specific heat sink is one of multiple that you could get from him. He might have a different one that mounts on a little bit better, or I might come up with another clever tactic for, like, you know, putting a strap over this thing or something like that to prevent it from popping off. We'll see. But yeah, that's been installed. This has been installed. You see where I put my battery, and I mean, listen to these things. So now I'm going to go outside and I'm going to basically just do a mild romp with it. I'll get it running through the long grass again, and we'll check the temperature on both the ESC and the motor and see the difference from the test that I did right before I installed the NTF fans. Stay tuned. I'll give you guys an update on how well these things perform in regards to taking some beating. And if you have any questions about anything, just leave a comment in the comment section. Check out in the description. I've got links to a lot of really good products if you guys are looking for. If you're looking for the strap, you can find the strap in there. If you're looking for the battery itself, you can find that in the master link in my description. So, you know, there's a ton of parts there that I keep that list pretty updated for, you know, stuff that's really compatible with the Arrma lineup. Eventually, when all of those, you know, Basher Extreme parts start coming out, then I'll update the description to show those as well. East Tactics, out.